Welcome to Get in the Mix. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the LC6000, the new performance expansion controller for the Prime Series players from Denon DJ. Now essentially, the device acts as a control surface for the second layer on either an SC5000, 6000 or the equivalent motorized versions. Now if you don't know, the Prime media players, so the 5000 and the 6000 and the likes, have what we call dual layers. That means that we can output two tracks from a single player to two different channels. Well, this device allows us to have an actual physical control surface for that secondary layer, avoiding the need to have to switch between the layers, which can get a little bit confusing. So let's jump in, let's get her open and see what she's got.
So smooth.
Easy. Whoa. And we can see the Denon DJ LC6000 Prime. Now on the back here you can see a couple of recommended setups that include using two players and two surfaces, one player and one control surface, or as a controller mode, two control surfaces. We're going to be going over setup 2 and setup 3 today, just giving you a rundown of how those work in practice. So let's jump right in. Now the first thing that's worth mentioning is that this is a fully hardware approved Serato controller. So although this is designed to be used in standalone mode with the likes of the Prime SC5000 and SC6000, it can of course be used completely independent with a computer as a dedicated control system. So if you've always liked the idea of having independent players, but you can't quite stretch that budget to the kind of £1,000 mark that you might have to spend for the likes of a couple of media players like the SC5000s, well, you're in luck, because now you can buy two single controllers and plug them into your laptop for a full Serato system. And here she is. Now instantly you notice that she is essentially an SC6000 without a screen. That's the long and short of it. Now some of you may have seen this already. There's the likes of Laidback Luke, Luke, who might have accidentally posted purposely posted a few images of this to his Facebook. He's of course one of the sponsored DJs from Denon, and he of course got his hands on it early. Worth noting that included in there is of course your USB cable and the optional power supply. Now why is the power supply optional? Well, that's because it can be completely powered off the bus. That it's bus powered, it's powered from the USB device and can run from the other players. But you have got the option of a power supply if you've got, for instance, you're using a computer where you're running out of USB hubs and you might not be able to draw enough power from that hub, or you've got multiple devices running on one system. Well, this is going to allow you to have independent power straight into the player. Now we'll pop here, and I think really we should just jump straight in with a setup, should we, Ollie? We've got one of those, we're going to need a mixer. So today, I've got for you the Numark Scratch. Now of course, Denon DJ players, Denon DJ mixer, you've got the likes of the X1850 and the X1800. But today we're going to be showing you with the Numark Scratch because it's a slightly more affordable option, but there's nothing stopping you using any Serato approved mixer. Of course, if you haven't seen our video on the Numark Scratch, then you can check it out here.
Can't do that anymore.
Oh, you can't do that anymore. Well, in the description, you'll find a link to our video for the Numark Scratch.
There'll be a card in the top, your left.
My left?
Yeah. There you go.
So, Numark Scratch.
It's very nice.
It is very nice. I've always liked the Numark Scratch. Now it's for our SC6000M. Oh. So now we've got our players set up. One SC6000 with both layers connected to channels 1 and 2 on our mixer, and our LC6000 simply connected by one USB cable to our device. Now, when you're setting this up, you do need to make sure that you update the firmware on the player that you're using to the latest version, otherwise your unit won't work. But otherwise, it is quite literally plug and play. So I've got two tracks loaded up on the player now. I've got one to play on here, and we've got one that we can control on here. So we can see that as I move the platter, we've got a visualization on that screen And there you have it. One player, 2 tracks, 1 control surface. There we're able to fully operate the 2 channels from our LC6000 without the confusion of worrying which channel's which. And even, as an extension of that, we can even scroll and select our tracks from the player. Unless, of course, we're not in scroll mode, then of course it works as a zoom, as you can see from the overhead shot there. This is an effective and easy way to get a 2-channel system whilst only having to spend the big bucks on 1 player. At about half the price, this puts this kind of setup at a much more affordable and achievable price point. We're looking around 500, around 500, just over £1,000, looking about £2,000 for a full, independent, standalone setup. Now, of course, there's another setup that we can use, which involves this, 2 of these, a mixer and Serato. And so let's check out that setup now. And so for our second scenario, we're talking completely controller-based control system. We take a USB output from each player and of course from our USB Serato approved mixer. It does have to be a USB mixer, bear in mind, because these do not have audio outputs. But then we are able to completely control Serato from these players. As you can see, as I move this, our track moves on the screen there. When we press Q, we have a track playing. So as you can see, lots of options with these brand new players from Denon. They're really pushing the boat in terms of new and exciting products for their already new and exciting products. Extensions on extensions. I mean, dual layer, if that wasn't enough, now you've got a control surface for that layer. Yeah. As always, like if you like, dislike if you dislike, chuck us a comment in the comment section and be sure to subscribe and make sure to get in the mix.